gonna tape this and put it on our YouTube, so you guys wanna go back. And then rewatch them, but, okay, so today we're gonna go over a CMA, why it's needed, and then how to pull comps to do that. So, if you're not yet part of the LBR and the MLS system, this is, you just gotta log in and all of its access through here. So, first of all, does everybody know what a comp is when we say we're gonna pull comps? Comps are comparables for, you're just comparing properties. Now, when do you need comps?
For you go to the listing, or you're listing, or you're selling a house, or you're listing, you are, yeah.
So, do you think we need them for just sellers? Do we need them for buyers? Buyers, yes, because, the way I would do my business is I show properties. If they wanna make an offer, say, great, let me go home, I'll pull the comps before I write the offer up, because I wanna see, they could be overpriced, they could be underpriced, and we're asking for money off, and they're already, have adjusted for that. So you're gonna wanna pull them for both, and that's why I figure before we go into the seller's portion, starting next week, we'll do this, just like the CMA. Everything is done for all of this. Okay, so how does an appraiser value a house? Do you guys know that? Because it all comes down to the appraised value. Heather, any guess? So, different ways, what do they use when they
Generally, they'll use similar properties that have sold most recently, that are most similar to the home in question, and then they'll adjust based on if it's a similar home, if it's inferior, if it has more upgrades, etc.
Right, location, things like that, so, I put in here, you always wanna get the closest comparison. So I always say apples to apples, so if you've got a 1-story, don't include the 2 stories in there. If you've got a 2-story, don't include the 1 stories, they sell differently. Ones with pools will sell a little bit different, but the way I do mine is I will look at the whole subdivision, and then I'll put that square footage in there. Some will have pools, some won't, and I use those comps with the pools if it doesn't have a pool, because I can say, hey, they sold for this, but they had a pool, so we've got a lot for that. And you're not gonna get 60,000 more for that pool, but you generally get a little bit more for the pool, if the condition of the home is good. Same square footage, try to be in the same neighborhood in 3 months or less. Don't compare your property to something that sold a year ago, or even 6 months ago, might be a little too old. So now what do you do if you're not finding any matches in that subdivision?
Doing research.
Yes, so you can do it a couple of ways. So I like to put in the square footage and try to find like for like, the exact model match. If not, I'm gonna widen the square footage. So with this an appraiser generally will use 300 square feet below yours and 300 square feet above yours. So it'll give you a range. So if you're at a 2,500 square feet, you can go down to 2,200 square feet and up to 2,800 square feet and use those comps. Excuse me. You want to try to stay in the same number of bedrooms. This one has a 3-bedroom. You can try to allot for a 4-bedroom, a 2-car garage, and a 3-car garage. You want to keep it as similar as possible, because all those little things do matter in the pricing. So that's when you can add the square footages. How far back can you go? If you aren't finding anything in those 3 months in your subdivision, go to 4 months, go to 5 months. I don't suggest going any later than 6 months. It's really, I'd almost rather you go outside the neighborhood than go that far back. But I always provide both of them when I'm doing my comps. Like, hey, if we go 6 months back, this is what they're selling. But if we stay in the 3 months, then let's go a half a mile radius around. Let's just go to this subdivision next door, or across the street there, the same build. You can kind of see what's available. You're gonna click on them, look at the pictures, and say, yeah, these are the same floor plans. So you know that they just built 2 sections of it. If that's not the case, then do a half a mile radius and then do a full mile radius to get all of those comps in there. And then what are you comparing between the houses? Like, other than the square footage of the rooms and the garage, what do you compare?
Upgrades.
What was that?
Upgrades in the house.
Yes, what kind of upgrades? Like, what is considered upgrade?
Marble on the bathrooms, stuff like that. Kitchen.
Recent
so go back to the recent remodel. How far back will an appraiser look at that as it's an upgrade?
I think I read recently 5 years, which
Yeah.
surprised me.
Yeah, so 5 years and under, they'll consider that as an upgrade. After 5 years, great. They're not gonna add any value, other than if you put granite and then it was originally laminate and everybody else has laminate or vinyl or whatever it is that you've done. If you've upgraded it, it will be an upgrade, but it won't be like a total renovated the bathroom. That was like 10 years ago. It's not renovated anymore. It needs another update. So, I put down here things to compare. The overall condition of the home is the most important. You know, you always want to start with the overall condition. Flooring types, wood as opposed to vinyl or tile, and then when was it replaced? Because people are like, oh, I put new flooring in. Well, when was that? 5 years ago. Well, the carpet's a little bit worn now. Just because they've done it, they consider it a complete upgrade forever, and that's just not the case. You have to keep redoing that. So, painting. If the whole house has been painted on the inside as opposed in outside as well. If you repainted the outside, that's a few $1,000s, so that's a nice little upgrade. But the inside, well, they might consider it an upgrade, but there's a blue room, a green room, a pink room, a different wall, like, yes, you've painted, but now it needs to be repainted because most often people are not gonna want so many colors in their home. So if it's been like fully blown white or beige or whatever, awesome, it's move-in ready, but those wild colors, any kind of color other than a neutral is not really considered an upgrade, but they will think so. Baseboards are a big one too. You got your standard little baseboard, and then you have your 5-inch nice baseboard. That's a huge upgrade, and they're very expensive to do. Just like crown molding, if you see that, some of them have it, some of them don't. Very expensive to do. Windows. The windows are a big one because people don't think about it, but windows are quite expensive. Sliding doors and things like that. So if you've got a house that was built in like 1970 and the next door neighbor is selling as well, you've replaced the windows and they have not, that's a huge selling feature because now your windows are energy efficient. They've got, you know, their power bill is skyrocketing because all this air is leaking through, and so it's a huge energy saver. So windows are a big one. Where are we at here? Solar screens. It's not a huge upgrade, but it's an added feature that I would definitely look like yours has them, they don't. Blinds. Okay, blinds are a big one. There's a difference between the little metal apartment blinds and then the faux wood blinds and then plantation shutters. You know, there's big price differences in those. So just say, I put blinds throughout, but they're the, you know, $20 metal blinds, and this person put $7,000 of wood shutters in there. So you have to allot for that when you're doing pricing. Light fixtures, your house can be 25 years old and still have all the same light fixtures. And you can tell, you know, they were built in 2000, which is not really that old, but if you think about it, they've got those with these little, I don't even know, like lamp shades on their dining room lights, and you're like, what is going on there? But then now there's that really modern black metal lighting, and when you compare the two, that just changing your lighting fixtures can really change the whole room. So that's a big one. Staircase railings. You've got the standard white railing, white wood ones, or you've got the nice wrought iron. That's a huge upgrade. So things are like that. Plumbing fixtures, when I say plumbing fixtures, I mean like faucets, bathroom showers. You've got a steam shower, that is nice, huge double head feature, whatever, as opposed to the little standard build that's, you know, not energy, you know. So, not energy, but like water smart. So look at all of that kind of stuff. Landscaping. Someone throwing rock out there is totally different than somebody paying extra for artificial turf. So things like that, patio, pool, spa, patio covers, number of garages, and it's also important where the property is located in the subdivision. Because you might have a great house, but you back up to a car wash or a gas station because you're on that back outside wall, as opposed to someone's at the front of the division or right in the center that's not even affected by that. So the appraisers are gonna look at that. It's location, the number one rule. Some questions. How much money does a pool add when you're doing a comp?
10 to 20.
Yeah, well, that's actually a little high. It could, depending on what it looks like. You just got a regular square pool, maybe 7,000, you know, if it's nothing fluff. But you've got the ones that have the lights and then the waterfall, yeah, 10 to 20 for those, you know, because they've got the fire features, and then they've got the palapa hut back there, you know, like they made it a real experience back there. But if it's just like a regular lap pool, you might add another 7. But here's the thing too, is there's people that want pools and people that don't want pools. So that, they don't see the added value of it. But yes, that's the only house in that subdivision, so yeah, they're gonna buy it, they want it, it's just not an added value to them. So they might take money off of that, cause it's like, I don't really want the pool.
So, kind of to that point, I mean, where do you get these figures, right? Like, to me, you know, property butted up against a gas station obviously is a huge difference from one that is on a corner lot in the middle of the subdivision. But how do you compensate as you're kind of doing that?
It's a hard one, because, I don't wanna say you're guessing, but you're kind of guessing, cause it always comes down to the appraiser, but you just kinda know, like, it's less desirable. So if I've got a $500,000 property and it shows great, but then you've got that awful wall, and you've got needles in your backyard, and you know, just garbage always back there. Somebody in the front might not be as upgraded, but it's quiet, it's on the quiet street, and you know, so it's just a little bit more desirable. So you just kind of guess. I would at that point say, okay, well, they've sold for this, or they're asking this, let's just price it a little bit under to make it a little bit more desirable. Location's a hard one. But when you do like something like plantation shutters, you kind of just go online and figure out, well, you know, pricing and how do they price each window and what, you know. So you're kind of, we had a home inspection one time, and they asked for like 5 things, and one of them was we needed 3 smoke detectors. So I'm like, Home Depot, 5 smoke detectors. Oh my, $50. Oh right, that's what, you know. You just kind of, I don't want to say guess, but you investigate on those figures. But
like
location,
an extra garage, or you know, a bedroom or a den that was converted to a bedroom. Like,
yes. So no, those are questions mainly for an appraiser. We need to get an appraiser in here to say, hey, can you just kind of tell us what your figures are? And they're going to use it loosely too, because every appraiser appraises something different. Like solar panels. Okay, I think they have a solar guy coming tomorrow. So that's a good one, and he'll tell you. But there are solar panels that are leased and solar panels that are paid for. And then there's a power purchase agreement where you don't even own them, they just are renting your roof. And it doesn't cost you anything, but then if you go to sell and you wanna remove them, now it's $25,000, you know, but, because you just made an agreement for them to rent your roof. So, don't quote me on it, but we're gonna get fine, specific details tomorrow. But from the way I value it at this point, it's kind of like leased ones are less desirable because it's a lease. And they're not of any value, so the appraisers are not using them of any value. Even though they're reducing your power, they're not of any value. And then paid off is of more value, but then there's a cap. So you've paid it off, but normally if you didn't, it's 30 years or 20 years on this. But you pay it off, and then after 10 years, they're not of value anymore. So you're like, well, I just paid it off, you know. So again, there's just up and down with items like that. So with the appraiser coming in, it's like, how much more do you value? They do have some criteria on like, we value each garage this, each bathroom this, a half bath that. So the appraisers are the ones gonna be able to give us those figures.
Right.
But for the most part, if you go back and look at the comps and you're like, okay, well, this one is 3 bedrooms, 3 bath, and this one is 4 bedrooms, 2 bath, you know, like what do they sell for? And then you have to go into their conditions and their upgrades, and you're like, well, this one sold for more because it had more bedrooms, or this one had more bathrooms. You're kind of just making it an even, like, where do we fit in there? And it's a range. We're all just guessing at the numbers in that sense, because there's no fine tooth, like, hey, right here, this is what it is. There's no fine line, I guess you would say. But you kind of get them in, the longer you stay in the industry, you're gonna kind of figure, okay, well, this is what sells here, and this is what's up. So, I don't know. But we should get an appraiser in there. I'm gonna talk to Tim about maybe having an appraiser come in, just talk to us, because as realtors, we don't really get that opportunity to talk to appraisers, you know.
I talked to an appraiser about the solar panels, and really tried to back him in a corner. He wouldn't let me.
Yeah.
About
Yeah.
about the value. He's like, but generally speaking, there is no value on the solar. But in certain circumstances, he may the value, but he couldn't tell me how much, and he would not talk to a value.
Yeah,
But
it's
generally, it's
Mhm.
a no,
It's a
but
no.
you'll have most, salespeople tell you it adds value, and generally don't listen.
Oh, yeah.
It
Oh,
makes
yeah.
it harder to sell and buy.
Yeah, and it does, because, you know, I have clients that are like, I absolutely I don't want the solar panels, I don't wanna take over somebody's lease, I don't want, you know, okay, so then now we look at homes that don't have the solar panels. But then there is some value in that, like, this summer, our payments were $500 to $700, you know, if they're paid off, your payment, it was like, what, $200-300? So you're saving $300 to $500 a month, you know, so it's huge. But then it's, like, when you go to sell though, it's the toss up of.
So it might make it more desirable, but it might not add value on the appraisal.
Yeah, but then the other way, you have the clients that don't want it, so now it makes it less desirable. You have a great house, and like, I love everything, but I don't want the solar panels. Oh, and you can't take them off because they owe something on it. And then if they do, they pay just as much as if they were putting them on their new. And then there's the issue with what damage they've done to the roof. Who's responsible for that? You take them off, and then, okay, now you climb in your roof, they've nailed through and then screwed through everything. You get leaks, and the roofing is, it just becomes an issue in that sense, but there's a lot of value in that monthly. So you just kind of have to go with it and do a lot of research with every upgrade that you're looking at. Just like flooring, there's we got flooring probably about 3 years ago. There's different levels of flooring, and there's different levels of padding, and there's different, you know, and it's like the colors and this and that. So you kind of go, well, hey, all new carpet, that'll save you about $7,000 to $10,000, depending on the size of the home. You just kind of get to know, and you can call Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, a flooring store, and just say, hey, I have a 4,000 square foot house, 3,000 square feet needs carpet. About how much do you know, a nice grade, doesn't, you know, in the middle, and then kind of give you an idea, but you're just using it loosely. And then you just price it and hope for the best, you know, and it's all negotiating, that's the thing. So we don't specialize in all of this kind of stuff, but we know what sells and what doesn't sell and what helps us sell faster, so. Okay, so next page here, pulling the comps. So there's a couple of different ways you can pull comps. I like to pull them, hold on, let's go. Hold on, in case this thing is okay. Yeah, okay, so we start with the pulling the comps, because once you pull the comps, then you can go into the CMA and then do that for your sellers. But I like to go into the MLS one, but you can go into Realist or no, there's another one. I thought I wrote it down here. No, that's the CMA. Well, there's a couple of different ways you can do it, but I like to do it here in Matrix, right? Don't go to Zillow and say, what's going on here? Like, we've got the best information right here. So you can go here. And then, okay. So you're gonna go up to search, and I go to residential. And then I go to map. I always just start with my map. I don't care about any of the rest of the stuff. So I go to the map, and then we gotta pick an area. Let's, trying to think what area would be good here. We'll go somewhere in. Just looking for a lot of them in a neighborhood, specific neighborhood. Here, this neighborhood looks good right here. You get just a lot of green dots here. Okay, so, oh, you know what, this is not, because there's a listing in there I know about, and they're all over the place. So much. Let me find another neighborhood. That's here. 2, 3, no, I want like 5 of them, I should have researched this first. Here, this looks good, right here. Okay, so you can kind of see how tight knit these little lines are compared to these lines over here, so you're like, yeah, this is kind of like a whole neighborhood area. I could probably stops right here, but then I could probably use all these as a comp, because they look like they're positioned the same way in here. This might be totally different, but let's go open here, and I'm gonna really hone in here. Okay, see this line right here? This is kind of where this straight line, where it divides the two neighborhoods. So these go into here, and then these go into here. So that's what I'm gonna work on. I'm gonna work on this top neighborhood right here. I'm gonna scroll down a little bit. And if you guys know me, you know I love my polygon tool. So you can search, you can draw things with a circle, with an exact square, which is nothing in Vegas is an exact square. And then you've got your polygon. So I start at one corner, and I pull to the next corner, and I come down, and I go back down to this one line, and I'm gonna go straight across to that line. And I'm just gonna try to capture the whole neighborhood. Okay, boom, done. And then right now, I know I have 9 matches for sale. So now I'm gonna go back in here to my criteria. Under contract contingent, and then I wanna add under contract no-show, which added a few more properties, and then I'm gonna do solds. So I went from 13 to 23, so now I'm working with 23 properties, and it's a good idea. So then I go here, so let's, that's all on one page, okay. So we can see our range, we've got 1,700 square feet, 1,900, 25, 21, what's our largest is 27. Yeah, so say I have, what are we working with here? Say I have this 2,000 square foot, see there's 2 different 2,000 square feet, 2,030 and 2,063. Those are pretty similar, but this one's a 4-bedroom, this one's a 3-bedroom, you know, so it does matter. So what we're gonna do is go back to criteria, just want to see what I'm working with here. And right here, there is square footage, where it is approximate living area. And I know I'm looking at the 2,300, so I'm gonna go right now 2,000 square feet to 2,600. Okay, now I'm down to 12 matches, which is easier for me to deal with, okay? And it's a little bit more refined. So with that, we are at the 2030 and 2063. So we know we're listed at 580 and 591. Now a comp is a sold property. It's not what's listed or under contract. Sold means it's closed, and that's what the appraiser is gonna use. But we look at these because anything that's green, the ER, that's just gonna tell us what our, you know, our competition is. So we gotta be kind of priced right. So now if you look at the solds, we have no 2030 or 2063 or whatever. So we are at 2,100 and 2,500. So looking at that, we're at 549 to 664. So let's say this one that for 580 is kind of similar to what we're looking for. I always click on here and I go to pictures first. Let me see the pictures. See what I'm dealing with. So 1 story, 2 bedrooms. So now I already know I'm 1 story. So maybe some of these might be 2 stories, so I wanna kick those out.
To the power lines.
What was that? Yeah, right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Automatic deduction.
Yeah, you know, and it does matter. I had somebody down in, it was right outside Lake Las Vegas, Calico Ridge. And they had, yeah, it's really nice up there and very quiet. Right across the street was this park and these huge power lines that just went, we had the hardest time selling it. And there was like, the houses were coming on and off the market and ours are like just sitting there. I'm like, we have the best view. But it's these huge power lines, because it was way out there. That's just the way that they did it. So it took a while to sell that one. But, so we know we're 1 story and we can kind of see like the flooring. It's nice. This is relatively new home. So I scroll down their backyard, completely empty. You know, no washer, no dryer. Now, when they say appliances included, what is that? Does everybody know what that includes?
Not the refrigerator.
No, so washer, dryer, refrigerator is what everybody's talking about. So when they're not included, you're gonna get your dishwasher, your stove, your oven. But when they say appliances microwave. But when they say appliances included, it's just talking about the refrigerator, washer, dryer, okay? Does it add any value? Doesn't know, but are the appraisers gonna account for it? No. And then that goes into certain things like if it doesn't have a stove, you can't get a FHA, VA loan on that, but you can get conventional or cash, so you gotta know what your property has to offer. But with this, we can see this one has a nice backsplash. It's got this nice stainless steel hood. So I go through each picture, what do they have, stainless steel appliances here. And you go through, yeah, they've got a large slider, it looks like it opens wide, not just one way. And then that's about it. So with that, I like to, from here, I look at the pictures and then I go to the information sheet. I always scroll down, this is what I do, I scroll down first, see who the agent is, Clay Isley, he's out of the Northwest office, super nice guy. So I kinda just look at everything there, make sure it's not into short sale, foreclosure, all of this is in here, because that matters too. When they go to appraise the property, if it's a short sale or foreclosure, that's like a distressed property, so that price might affect the way that, it's being sold, so the appraiser's like, well, kick that one out, it's a short sale, nothing else with a short sale. But we wanna know that ahead of time. So then you just look at the remarks, okay? Never lived in, this is awesome, okay, so what year was it built? It was built in 2023, so it was built this year, just is new to the market. So owners decided to sell, so they bought it and didn't move into it, which is huge, it's like buying a brand new home without all the extra waiting time. So in the corners, 10-foot ceilings, high-end window coverings, solid pay 7,500, so it gives you an idea when they put that kind of stuff. Will they value it? You know, again, if there's furniture left in there, we have one that's listed as an Airbnb that's fully furnished. Is that a value? Sure. No.
Oh, not actually.
Yeah, so nothing in the home, is considered, the appraiser's just, valuing the home. But, so you have to make sure when you're writing that offer, all contents in the home to stay at no value, make sure you put at no value, cause then you gotta write addendums and the lender's kicking it back or whatever, but it's at no value. Washer, dryer, refrigerator can stay, that's usually not a problem, but it's the furniture and all that kind of stuff, the shed out in the back, and you want them to put no value there. So with that being said, so we're gonna go back up here to agent single line, and this, I use this portion super, all along, it's the majority of my comp is this line here. So we know that was that 2063, so let's check out this 2030, which is priced a little bit higher, but it's a smaller square footage. So let's check out, but it's got an extra bedroom. So I like to start with photos. Oh, lovely. So you're gonna get that a lot too. One photo, you're just kind of guessing, and you're hoping that they give you a lot of information here. Again, 2023, so this is a brand new house. I scroll to the bottom. So this is listed as a regular realtor too, so is he just working with the builder and they gave him a house to sell, or like what's going on? But yep, so that's exactly what it is. Open daily, please call Sandy or Olga at Richmond American Homes. So it's an actual builder, Richmond American, but they've asked a realtor to put it on the MLS. So he's not really dealing with it, he's just listed it, and then you're gonna go to these two ladies for everything. So you're buying a brand new home. It's gonna be on their contracts and all of that stuff. So that kind of matters too, in pricing wise. I think the appraiser's generally gonna add, a little bit more value to that because you're buying a brand new home. It's not really a resale, it's just listed here. So, kind of just go through barbecue stuff. See, they've listed everything that it has. So great. So now you know why it's priced a little bit more. But let's go back up here. So when you're looking at this, all of these homes are built brand new. So even if they're resale, or on the MLS, considered resale, they might not be resale. So now we know that they're all, that's another thing is you're looking at the year of the home. Do not use comparables from 1970 and 2005. It's a totally different build. The construction, the energy efficiency, that everything is different. You wanna stay within a 10-year mark on that, 1990 to 2000. Cause it just changes. They change all of their criteria and everything, permitting, all of that stuff. So with that, let's say, okay, what would I price this one at? Okay, so this one, we've got one more on the market here, 2030, and that's priced at $559, and this 2030 is at $591. So I'm gonna go up here and check out what's going on here. Did somebody buy this one, or is this the builder as well? So this is builder, Frank Cardano, so, yep, it's back to the builder. So it's obviously less upgraded. So let's go back here, and you're gonna look at that pricing. So that one, 2030 at $559, this 2030 at $591. It's, what's that, $40,000, $30,000 difference right there. Okay, so that just should tell you kind of an idea of comping, how to comp properties. Is this one has a little bit more, so you can go into a little bit more depth into what they have. But so let's say we're gonna price ours at, we'll just pick this one at 2030. Okay, we'll just pick that one. That's the one we're gonna use there. Okay, awesome. But I'm trying to think what else I should show you guys when we're doing our comps there. But how do we get that price? We're getting it off of all of that stuff, you know, the location of the home. So now what you can do is go to the map. All of these homes. So now when you mark it as, like I just did, I put the check mark on the top left, it's gonna tell you which one you marked. And so the green is available, the orange is under contract, and the red is sold. So you're just looking at, all of those and the locations. So now we do back up. If we pick this one, maybe that's why they priced that one at $530. It does back up to this. What's behind there? Do we have power lines? I mean, it looks like it's just desert to me off of this, but are we sure? I don't know if we can, let's see. Go back to here. Well, no, I really can't tell. But anyways, okay, so say we've priced ours at $559. Awesome, that's what we're gonna list ours at. But now we've got this one at 2,100 square feet that's priced at $559. So they're larger, but they also have 3 bedrooms, not the 4 bedrooms. So again, as you can see, we have more square footage, and more they have more square footage, but we have more bedrooms. So it's not just like, hey, this is what it is. It's not cut and dry. So don't feel bad. You're like, I'm just throwing it out there. But that's what I do is I give my sellers a range. Hey, this is the range. Where do you guys want to go? We can't go wrong anyway. Do you want to be on the lower end of, you know, 559? Do you want to be on the higher end of like 563? You know, not that it's too much higher, but you're gonna give them that, you know, option to do. So that way you didn't pick the price, okay? But it's not too far off. You can't go wrong. So, so you got that. That's how you're gonna pull your comps on the area there. Now, so say we go back here and say we didn't have all of these in here, and that was still our property. We're like, okay, we're thinking 559 is good, but there's nothing comparable. So what you're gonna do, delete that shape, and I go to the circle. Hey.
Good.
We're doing good. So, you just make a pinpoint and you drag and see the numbers. I go a half a mile radius out. And so, right there. So that's where we're at. So now I go back up to results. Actually, what I'm gonna do, yes, hold on. What was my square footage? My square footage was 2030, right? So we go to criteria. Now I don't wanna see all these. I just wanna see what's sold. In the half a mile radius, what has sold in the square footage of 2030? We have 19, okay? Well, not really, because sorry, I forgot to change this. So I'm gonna do 2,000 to 2,100.
And leave it at 6 months too.
Yes, I do it. I do it at 6 months, but then that changes once I kind of like get into it, right? So, there's nothing has sold. Oh gosh. Okay, there we go. So 2. In a mile radius, only 2 have sold in the last 6 months. And we know we're 2030, and this is 2032 and 2024. So those are priced at 559, these are priced at 391, but look at the year, 2008. So you know that they're older, so you have to kind of go through it and say, why are they so much less? Oh, okay, I got it. And if those have a pool and they don't have a pool, so you have to look at all of the figures. Again, if you guys ever run into a problem and you're like, I have agents all day long call me, I can't figure out this pricing. So then they'll give me the address and I'll sit and I'll do the comp and say, okay, what did you come up with? Okay, this is what I came up with. Why did you come up with that? We're here to help you. It doesn't matter. I mean, 3 of seasoned agents last week, so don't feel like you can't ever ask. Sometimes we get into that, trying to price per rump. Good luck with that. Like, nothing's the same. You got half acre here, full acre here. This one's got a well, that one doesn't. You know, so it is different. So don't ever feel like I don't reach out to another realtor. I'm like, hey, I'm just trying to get pricing. I can't, you know, get a hold of this. Can you put eyes on it? See, don't feel guilty about it, because we as a whole of realtors sometimes need help, because it is a different, you know, monster in itself to do those comps. But, okay, so now that's how you're gonna do your comps. I'm trying to think if there was anything else here. Active sold, so you're gonna keep bouncing back between ER status, under contract, sold, and then take them in, put them in, take them out, and then just kind of see what's my competition, and then when you put the solds in there, that's what it actually sold for, that's my actual comp. Because again, it could have sold for 500,000, but now what everything is selling for is 560, and you're like, okay, what is the appraiser gonna appraise about? Because that's the thing, is like, they sold for this, but there's 6 homes that are appraising, you know, are priced at 560. Shoot, will we get that? I don't know. So you can tell your clients, you know, hey, 3 months ago they were selling for 500, now they're at 560, what they're listed at Doesn't mean they're gonna close for that. Where do you fit in, where do you wanna fit in? It doesn't hurt going a little bit lower to like the 530 range and just say, hey, I know they're at 560, maybe we get a bidding war. You just don't know. So you just kinda have to fill out, there's not a specific science to this. So I mean, I can't give you all the, like, this is how it is, cause it's really not. There's so many factors that go into it, you just kinda play around with it, right? And then like for like, 1 story, 10 years, square footage, we got all of that. Okay, so now let's go into real quick how to actually do a CMA report. So you're gonna pull comps for many different reasons. Somebody just needs a value, you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna sell, can you tell me what they're kind of going for? Then you've got people that like, I wanna make an offer, can you tell me, before we make the offer, what they're doing? You wanna list the home, tell me what we're gonna list it at. Many different reasons why you would do something like that. Also, if they're gonna refinance, they don't even know if they have, like, can I even get money out of it? So they'll call upon you and just say, hey, can you just kind of tell me what they're going for? Doesn't mean they wanna sell, but your job is to kind of say, hey, this is the range we're in. I'm big on giving ranges. When you give an exact price, they wanna hold you to that. And then if you're low, they're like, see, I could have got more. And if you're high, you're like, oh my God, you overpriced my property. It's always your fault.
I love that chart that you showed us on the rev up earlier where it showed like if you price it at market, the number of eyes. If you go below market, you get more eyes.
Yeah, because people will always want to go above that. And I'll say, do you see how you limit how many people are actually viewing your property the higher you go? So why not show it to everybody? Because the lenders will they'll give pre-approvals in blocks usually, like 200,000. Sometimes they'll give you 210, but that means usually like 215 or 230 or 250. So you're not like you're getting 207. I guess you could, but that's like really pushing it. Like I can stretch it to 207, but if I price my property at 220 when everything else is selling at 200. If they're priced at 210 and below, you're not gonna see my property. And it really should sell for 200. So I just did a disservice to my sellers because nobody's seeing it. And that's what you said, my job is to get all eyes on it at this value. And then I see that when you go at value or a below, you get so much interest. People will find ways to get that home. If it's a really good home, they will get a gift letter. They will, they pull out all the stuff. I'm gonna pull from my 401k, the money that we didn't know they had, all of a sudden they have. I'm like, well shoot, we could have been looking at this price range all along. But if they like it, but if the price is too high, they're never gonna see it. So say we have our comp, and let me go back here and, I didn't write the address or the MLS number. So I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna put all these in here, active, I think it was active. 6, okay. So we want, 7339 Rosenberger, okay, Rosenberger, done. Okay, so now when you're gonna do I'm never gonna remember that, somebody write this down. I need an address, 7339 Rosenberger, I forgot my pen. Okay, so now, when you're gonna do your CMA, somebody wants to list their home and they're like, okay, I'll be there on Thursday, I'll bring my listing presentation and a CMA report. You're gonna go up here to my matrix, come down here to my CMAs. Oh, also, something to think about too is like, if I have an address like that, and before I start doing my CMA, I go to Zillow, okay? And I don't know if Zillow will do this because it's a brand new home. But, and I check Zillow because the public is using Zillow. It's not that I think that they're true, but they think, this is what Zillow said, this is what it's worth. So I go there just so I know what I'm dealing with, all the pushback I'm gonna get. You know what, sometimes it's better just to go like this, I just Google. Okay, 7339 Rosenberger, right? Oh, okay. Okay, so right now, Zillow is telling us it's 559 because that's what the builder put. Okay, is what it is. So now also think about this. We have this system here called Realist. I love Realist because it's like a tax record, but it also is comps. It's a percentage of the likelihood of them selling. It'll tell you all of if they've had a foreclosure, every time they refinance, it tells you everything in here. So this is a good system to get used to, so.
How do you call it again?
Realist. Realist, Rosenberger. And so you just type the address in there. And it'll probably be the same price, cause that's what they're doing, but people don't look at that price, that's just the listed on the MLS. So I scroll down to the bottom here, and this is like the likelihood of them selling, which because it's a brand new home from a builder, that's whatever. It's not gonna tell you that, but normally it'll tell you, it's all be all blue, and it'll tell you 73% chance of selling, which is great. But it tells you the market value. They're anywhere between $395 and $734. Well, that is a huge range. But they said that the real AVM is about $565, and they're listed at $599 or $590, whatever, I don't remember what it was. But so I take that number, I take the Zillow number, and then I take what I've gotten, and I kinda get an idea of the range. I would not tell them $395, but you know. I say between, 530 and 600, that's kind of the range we are. Where do you wanna fit in there? How fast do you wanna sell, things like that. So I always like going to Realist, but if you keep scrolling down, it'll tell you, which this one won't because it's a builder, but it'll tell you the listing information, it'll tell you sales history, every time it's sold, every time it refinanced, everything is on here. So this is a good system to use, but let me get out of here. So we're gonna go back to our comps, right here. And you're gonna hit this button on the bottom, it says start a new CMA. And I'm gonna just use myself in here. You can create a new contact and it's first and last name. Don't put their email, don't do any of that, because you don't wanna send it to them. It's really just for you to do your thing. And then there's no start or anything, you just go to the next one, it says pages. And then, I bring all these pages over, and I take out the ones later on. I just bring them all over. And then the subject property, okay? So with that, you're gonna, man, it's gonna lock it. So, hold on, let me get, oh wait, we might have it here. I need the, parcel number, which again, we can look up. If you guys don't know just yet, we'll do that. You're gonna go, always, when you're doing a CMA, you always wanna pull the tax record. Whenever you're doing anything, pull the tax record. Make sure who you're talking to is the actual person on the property that you should be talking to. So, house number was what, 7339?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, Rosenberger. So, one property, okay, can you write this parcel number down for me? 126-813-007. Okay, so now we'll go back to this, cause they're gonna auto-fill it. Okay, so, parcel number?
126-148-13007.
Okay, and then you hit fill. And boom, it fills all this stuff. What's going on? Because I opened this other one. Okay, hold on. It's a very touchy system here. Okay, so my CMAs, and now I should have one. Oh, but when did I start? Right here. It saves it automatically. Okay, so now we wanna edit. Yeah, okay, we'll go back to it. Okay, parcel number again, 126?
126-148-13007.
Okay, and then you fill. What's happening?
Did I write it down?
126-148-13.
Yeah. 007. That's what I wrote down. Is
Okay.
that accurate? I don't know.
I don't know. Okay, let me see.
Parcel numbers.
Okay, tax director, let's try again. Oh, you know what we'll do? We'll do this. I've just sold. Let's see, should I do this? Rosenberger, okay. Right here. Okay, so your, parcel number is going to be right, okay, so what, 126-148-13.
813, that's what I have.
Oh, I put 13, that's why, okay.
Oh.
So that was my error.
I'm sorry.
Okay, we got it, we're getting it. So, okay, you see amazed.
Alright, 126
126
14 813
813.
007.
Oh my gosh, it won't fill it, what's going on? Okay, you know what, I'm gonna pull up one of my.
Okay, you guys write it down this time.
No, I might be because it's brand brand new, and it doesn't, maybe it's not in the
It's not
builder, that
accepted.
parcel, yeah. So what we'll do is we're just gonna go through one of my old ones, right? Okay, so, my CMA. Let's see, I do them for other agents, so I don't know what I'm gonna pull up here. So let's go here. Okay. Got it, hold on here. And that's good, so we got pages, which we just did. I brought them all over, they're all in there, and then you go to subject. So in subject, I always suggest, if you have time between now and when you're gonna go there, go by and just take a quick picture. They love to see updated pictures. Otherwise, if you can't, sometimes you have to go tomorrow. Just go on to, Google the address and then just take whatever's on Google. And then pop that picture in there. Don't leave it like that, because again, doing these little things are what's gonna set you apart from those other agents. Always print this in color. You will win listings just because yours is in color, theirs is not. So if you can go to the extreme of just going and taking that picture, a picture of today, like, cause it could be an old picture and the house was orange, and now it's beige, and they're like, oh, that's an old picture, they kinda go, oh, it's an old picture. And you're like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't have enough time, but this is what I pulled off of Google. If it's just 24 hours, they get it, but if you've had 4 or 5 days, kinda best to try to get one. But anyway, so I always put the picture in there. All this stuff is when you hit fill, all of this stuff fills in, so that's why there's not much more. But if I know more about it, like I could put 1 story, I could put 0 fireplaces, I can put description of the flooring. You can go into great depth. You don't need to, this is just the general stuff that'll pop in. So cover, it's about the same, and see, this one's got a truck outside, and that's what it is. You could try to catch it without it, but you never know. So I look for a really good picture to put in there, and then it just pops this stuff back in there. There's not a lot you have to do here. So when you get to comparables, that's when you're gonna search for those same comps that we just did. This is already done, so that's why it's in there. But you're gonna add from listing. And now we brought you right back, and you're gonna put in that same criteria we just did, and then you're gonna hit results. And when you hit results, it lets you pick which ones you wanna use in your comps. Because there's sometimes one is 50,000 more than the other, or 100,000 price less than everything else. You don't want to include those in there because it's gonna skew your comps and skew your pricing. If things are that far off, or it's a distressed property, the appraisers are probably gonna throw that one out anyways. But so you wanna get everything that's pretty compact in there, I guess you could say. The square footage is 1,200, 1,300, 1,400, awesome. We know that they're going, well, that's rental, but 344, 358, and 359, okay, we get it.
When and for the comps, 2 questions, you're only putting in solds?
I put in all of them, because as you can see,
Okay.
ER is available, there's under contract show and under contract no show. What do you guys suggest when you have a listing and you accept an offer? Do you wanna go under contract show or under contract no show?
Show.
Show, no show? There's no right or wrong answer, yeah. And so, I myself choose to do no show, and it's for consideration for the buyer. Because, yes, we went under contract, and now I'm letting other people just traipse through your house. So a lot can happen in those 30 days, people coming in, breaking things, ruining the carpet, so out of, being nice to the buyers. But if their offer is kind of low, and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna put under contract show because I wanna get backup offers. Or if they have a contingency, they've gotta sell their other home, we'll take your offer, but I'm gonna continue to show this one. You cannot leave it in ER status, so you have to go to under contract show, which means you can still show it, and then it will be a backup offer. But so there's just something to think about when you're putting listings in there. So now with this, I leave it, and then this, I've got the solds down there too. Again, solds are what the actual comp is that the appraiser's gonna use. ER and under contract, those are kind of what's on the market and what's happening. Here's a trick though too. If you're looking to list a list property, and you're trying to figure out pricing, and you have one that's priced just like yours, but it's under contract, click on it, right? So we have 1450. Let's go to this one right here. I'm gonna click on it. I'm gonna go down here, and you got the listing agent, right? But down here, I got the buyer's agent. Listing agent's not gonna tell you what they accepted. The buyer agent will. Usually they will, so I call up. I'm like, hey Zara, this is Wendy Schaller with Realty One Group. I see that you are under contract for a property on 5548 Pendleton Circle, and it looks like it's set to close on November 17th. Have you guys done your appraisal yet? And he'll say, oh yeah, we just got it in, and say, you know, any idea, can you let me know what it came in at? Because the appraiser will tell the lender, which will tell the buyer's agent. They will not tell the seller. The seller will never really know what that appraisal came in at. So I call him, or if he's like, no, we haven't done it, I'll say, okay, well, I see that the property's listed at 389. Did you guys offer 389, above, below, anything you can tell me on that? 9 times out of 10, they'll say, yeah, we actually got it for 360.
Excuse me, I thought the appraisal go directly to the lender, not to
The what?
the lender, go to the lender.
What
the
does?
Appraisal.
It does, but then they call you.
The appraisal never called me.
Okay. Well, then did he call you and tell you it came in at value?
No.
Okay, well, when did you
My
get it?
lender called me, but not the appraisal.
Okay, but when did you get the appraisal done?
Was done 2 weeks ago,
When did you go to contract?
2 weeks ago.
Okay, so the appraisal wasn't done 2 weeks ago, the appraisal probably hasn't even been done. And if it's been done, it can take up to like 7 to 15 days for them to get that appraisal back. So when the appraiser does the appraisal, he walks the property, and then he goes back and compares. So he's doing all of that, and then he sends the information to the lender. Then the lender will call you and say, Graciela, the appraisal came in at value.
Yeah, they told me that.
So they didn't call you?
The lender, but
Yeah.
not the appraisal.
You'll never talk to the appraiser.
Oh.
Yeah, so the lender will call, the appraiser will call the lender, and the lender will call you. So you're good, yeah. So I just tend to call them, and I'm like, okay, well, now I know, call the buyer's agent, because the listing agent, technically, they're not supposed to tell, because if this falls out, now they just disclose to somebody else what they're willing to take. So that listing agent won't tell you, but the buyer's agent probably will, I got it for this, so just a little trick there. So with that, just a little trick. So then you're gonna go back to your, I'm trying to think how I'm gonna get back here. Without getting rid of this. I go criteria, maybe? Yes, I think criteria. And then go back here to results, okay. Sometimes you hit a button and it brings you right back to the front. So with that, I'm gonna pick and choose which ones I want to add in there. So let's see, since nothing's picked, well, I'm gonna add all the ones that are available because they're gonna be my competition. And then say I'm 1,200 square feet, so I'm gonna add this one. And then I'll add this 1245. And then I'll add this sold of 1,200, and then this one, right? So I pick which ones I want and I'll add selected. Now, what the heck happened? That's a lot of property, so I don't know exactly what happened, but normally those 5 or 6 are supposed to just show up there, and then when you make your report, it's just comparing your property to those 5 or 6. I have no clue what happened. So add from listing. Maybe it just, the map went, I have no idea what happened here. Yeah, so it just did the whole area. Okay, so I don't know, but, so anyways, we're gonna go past that. So once you pick the ones that you want, then you go on to map. So then the map, come on. Yeah. So then the map will show you all the properties that you have picked or not picked or whatever, because these green ones are the active ones, the red ones are the sold ones. And then adjustment, I just click through them, right? Well, I don't usually use this page because this is more like an appraiser adjusting it. He's gonna adjust for certain things, bathrooms, bedrooms. I don't even get into that, but I just click right through them, and then you got pricing. Okay, so it gives you low end and high end, and then you hit finish, and then I come over here and I view my CMA. So it generates it, and then it shows me what it's gonna view. I choose what I want, what pages I want, or I print it all out in color, and then I take out the ones that I don't want, and then I put them in a little folder. That folder I was showing you guys today at Rev Up, it's the clear one. This is what goes in there. It just takes a minute because it generates the whole process.
Any guidance around minimum and maximum number of comps, or just include whatever?
I don't do too many,
is
but
appropriate?
if they're good, like, and you're trying to show them, like, I cannot price at 700 when they're selling for 580.
Mhm.
Like, there's nothing. give them all and say
Got it.
nothing has to, but if, sometimes too much is overwhelming to them. They're gonna read through half of this report, they're really not, it's mumbo jumbo, and you'll see, means something to us, but to the general public, it's just like, what is all this stuff? So this is what it generates, right? So this is your front page where the picture is, all of their information, all of your information. I usually throw the second page out because it's the same stuff, right? Then it starts showing you that the first line will always be your property. Why? If the picture didn't come in there, there's 2 spots to upload your picture. Make sure you upload it in both spots, okay? Because as you can see, I uploaded it in one and not the other. But then these are the ones, and they'll tell you, if you go down here, it's active, meaning these are your competition. So if you keep scrolling down, these 2 are active as well, and then I think we go into the solds or under contract, solds. See, so check that out, and so then that way they can see list price $220, $275, square footage 1,400, square footage 1,100. So it's side by side views for them to do that. They always just do 3 in a page. So you scroll through all those if you want to add all your comps. I don't know how many pages of, oh my goodness, of comps I have. Let me just scroll through here, come on. You don't want to add, see, this is why you don't want to add too many. You just get the, important ones. It's a great learning experience here. You can cut them down, because these are all sold. We don't need to, okay, here we go. Okay, so I think that was the last one, right? Okay, so last one. Scroll through here. So now this is the page that tells you about the pricing. So listing between 1,800, that's obviously a rental, to 435. So selling price between 220 and 410, and this was what, I think it was like 1,100 square foot house or 1,200 square feet, right? And it'll tell you all of that. So I actually circle that, and then I hand write in here my own range. And then, because I personally feel like when you hand write something, they feel like, look at how much work they've done. This is all just computer generated, and sometimes they're like, yeah, I put some numbers in there, called it good. But when you actually handwrite on something, they're like, okay, they actually took the time to read through this stuff. So I would put, for your property, I think 275 to 310 would be a good price range for you, and I would put that in there and I'd circle it, and then just move on, right? Again, if you were in my class this morning about the listing presentation, I put this in there. When I present it, I present my magazine, and then I present this, and I say, okay, I'm not gonna go into this, I'm gonna leave this for you guys to look at, but I'll open to that page, and and say, I don't know what pricing you guys were thinking, did you have a number, before I show it to them? And they're like, we're thinking here, I say, okay, well, with this is the price range that it generated, and then when I did the comps, and I have that agent line sheet that I handwrite, number 1 has got this, number 2's got that, and I'll say, I went through all of these line by line, and I came up with this price range, and that's when I circle it. So you can go through that, and then it gives you graphs upon a graphs, and all this other stuff in here, right? You can pick and choose which sheets you want to add in there. Then it kind of breaks down again. This is the remarks of the property, which is really good because the other one didn't have remarks. So if they're like, well, I want this one. Well, good, now you can see they had plantation shutters and you did not. They had granite, you have laminate. So it does give a little bit extra. I like to leave that one in there. There's a couple that I throw out, that second page, and then a lot of the stuff in the back here. Oh, okay, that's right, we had a lot of properties, didn't we? Okay, sorry, let me scroll through these. Again, that's why I want to narrow it down a little bit. Okay, so now we'll go to that one. Yeah. We go into here, and it's just more graphs, colorful stuff. They just feel like you've generated so much for them already. They're not going to read half of this. It's just, it's the same stuff. It's just really redundant. That's why I say you can pick and choose what you want to take out of there. But it generates it for you. So that you can just put it in there and walk out the door, but that's how quick and easy that it is. But if you've got one that's a little bit harder to comp, this is a great page too. Average price, high price, medium price, low price, which you didn't even kick that out there because it's a rental and I didn't take it out. But you could say average price is selling right around $319. And then I said, what did I say? My price range was what, $275 to $310 or something like that. $230, something like that. So they're at $320, and that's the average price range. You just kind of get used to kind of giving them that range, and that's where you would fit into. You want to go high at $330? Do you want to go, a little bit lower, like $350, $310? You tell me. It's not going to hurt it, but you've already given them a range, and to them, when you say, do you want to go high like $330? It's only $10,000 more than what it's. you know, but if you say, what price, they're gonna tell you, I want 380. But where did you get that? So then you're constantly going back, but I've already given them the range, you just need to pick somewhere in that range. And then you can write the price there too, I like doing that too, and then I highlight it. You know, I write it really big, and then I highlight the range, and I highlight it. And then that way they're like, okay, that's obviously what I can get. And then more of this, and then this goes into pricing. Again, the longer it stays in the market, the less money that you're gonna get for your home. Yeah, so it generates all of that for you. And then this is the benefits of using a realtor. I always leave this page in here because they will flip to the back. I read everything back to front. I don't know why, I've always just done that. It's something I've done, so I would have read this page first. So super helpful, but then market, explaining the market analysis, I don't know how pertinent that is to our local market, you know, but it's in there. And then there's your graphic and the pricing.
Yep.
And you can go over that again with them, because it's super helpful. And then this just, again, talks about pricing. There is one other sheet in here. Let me go through here, and I like this one right here, is where commission goes. Everybody thinks it all goes to us. Now Fred, he's gonna be talking tomorrow at our mastermind group, and he says whenever I do a listing presentation and they start asking about commission, I take 6 $1 bills out. And I'll say, hey, if I'm giving 3 bills to the buyer's agent, 3 bills to the listing side, let me show you where that goes, right? So 3 bills immediately go away, so I am working with 3 bills. And when you actually have dollar bills, say 1 bill goes to my broker, 1 bill goes to IRS, and then 1 bill goes to me. So then they're like, oh, they probably I haven't tried that one, but they probably stopped trying to knock you down because like, well, now it's going to my broker and IRS, so I'm working for free. You know, so you put it to them that way. So it's all how you want to explain. But then this just kind of shows you how that commission gets broken down. So that's a good one to leave in there as well. And then sources, I kind of throw this one out, it's a little dated, because like sources of where your buyers come from. Internet, yes. Real estate agent, yes. Yard sign, possibly, yeah. Friend and relative, home builder, a new seller, and a newspaper. I don't even know if anybody that gets a newspaper anymore, but they should have put social media maybe or something. But, you know, so I just kind of throw it out. They don't care where the buyer's coming from. They just want a buyer. So it really doesn't help, but they say internet, yeah, most of them are shopping on the internet first, and they'll call you. You can set them up on a search all day long, and they'll tell you one story, 3 bedroom, 2 bath, and then they're looking at Zillow, and they're gonna call you. Oh my God, I found this 2-story. It's got 2 bedrooms and a pool. I'm like, well, that's nothing like what you told me, but that's what they do. So they're constantly, and that's why they talk to other realtors. Can you find me something? It's because they told you one criteria, and they went to another realtor and told them another criteria, or they're looking on Zillow for a totally different criteria than they gave you. So that's why you have to tell them, hey, whatever you give me is what I put in there. I can show you everything in this price range. You can just tell me what you want, and I can refine that for you. But that's why I like setting up their MLS search next to them, because then I see it, and I'm like, okay, how many bedrooms do you want? Boom, done. Okay, see, we just went down to, 300 homes. Okay, do you want a 1-story? Okay, boom, we went down to 92 homes. Okay, and you're okay with 2-story? Boom, take that out. Okay, we're back up to 300. So then they see that it's the criteria that they give me. So, because it's really difficult when I'm just like, okay, I sent you a search, and they're like, where did you even get that? So with that, then how to properly show your home. Again, those things are super important, just like we did in the listing one earlier. If you just keep telling them what to expect, then they won't have all of these freakouts, because they do have freakouts. So tell them, less is more. Get rid, because they're gonna open your closet doors, they're gonna open your pantry, they're gonna open your cabinets. Make sure everything looks nice, it's not just shoved in there. Downsize, if you are not wearing winter clothes for the next 6 months, put them in boxes. Box that up to make so they don't open the closet and like, wow, let's walk in and I can't see. Just get rid of it. They'd rather see boxes and be able to walk into your closet rather than, okay, I don't even know how deep it is. You just kind of prepare them on how to show it properly. And then what it takes to show, it kind of goes into all of that. And then this just gives them a map of all the properties that are available and under contract and all of that. Just another map, more information, and then that's pretty much it. And then I put that in the binder, and then I give that to them with the listing presentation. So, any questions about how to do the comps or how to do the CMA? Again, you can get CMAs, there's a couple of different places that you can, I thought I wrote that down here. Oh yeah, there's different apps like Matrix, and RPR. RPR has one as well, and that's another tab in here. Right here, RPR. You can do that. Your comps through RPR as well. Once you get signed into, thank you. Once you get signed into the LDR, the MLS, go into all of these little tabs. But yeah, this is pretty much the same, but it'll tell you, I did this the other day, create a CMA, and it walks you through just the same way. But when you're in the LDR, this is where you're gonna make all of your documents. And then if you have issues with the lockbox here, new construction is an MLS for all new construction homes. And then you can go down any of these over here. There's just a ton of stuff that they give you. I really, to be quite honest, I use these two. I use Showtime. Because Prospect is the CRM that LDR gives you. We give you Sync. So I prefer to use Sync. So I only use like 5 of these tabs, but there's a ton of them. Just like in the zone, there's like what, I don't know, 35, 40 tabs, and I think I used 5 or 6 of them. You're gonna use what works best for your business. You're all independent contractors, so you design it the way that you want it. If everybody's using the LVR MLS, or CMA, use the RPR, just look a little different. Change it up a little bit. But other than that, any questions? No. Well, thank you guys for coming. Next week, we are doing the listing presentation. We're gonna do electronic one, the digital one, and then I've got the paper one as well, which I gave to some of you this morning. But tomorrow is our office meeting, 9:30 to 10:30, and then our group mastermind, junior mastermind meeting right after that.
Do we have to register for that or anything?
No, you just come on in.
An hour or so.
Yeah, it should be more than an hour. We're gonna have Fred kind of talk about how they run their mastermind, and then kind of like talk about, have everybody kind of, maybe even introduce themselves, what they do, if they're full-time, part-time, whatever, just so everybody can kind of see where you're at, and because you guys are gonna be forming your own groups. I will keep track of them, I was talking to Fred, he's like, we want like 5 to 8 people in a group, he goes, that way kind of, they can feed off of each other, and then they can kind of help in different ways. If you want to go, that's fine, you can go. And he goes in, and then he's gonna kind of say, hey, these people work a little bit better and know personalities and stuff like that. And then you guys just kind of work amongst yourself, but we're here to give you ideas, what to talk about, things you can do as a group and by yourself, and how you can lean on each other. But it's gonna be our first meeting on that, but again, it's super successful watching these agents of 20 plus years do it. They meet weekly in that front office over there, the glass office there, and you just see them there. They promote each other's listings. They promote them on their social media. It's a really good idea, but it's just getting with the right people. You guys have to find your groups because not everybody melds together. I can't say that enough. So you want to really interview. You're really interviewing each other to find who might work best for you. And then it's gonna take a bit. You're not gonna just jump into a group and say, hey, this is great. You might do an open house with one person and say, you know what, I want to do my business a little bit different, but I know they focus on high rises, so I'll keep them in my back pocket. So I say work that out, but yeah. All right, so if you guys need anything, you always know how to contact me. I'm here for you. But have a nice day, and I